Which are my favorite Mobile Fidelity One Steps? This is a question I was trying to answer in the last video. I made a video about a month ago where I went through the first seven of my Mobile Fidelity One Steps, listened to a bit of each on my system as it is today, and tried to determine if I could enjoy it on its own merits or if there was something that absolutely disqualified it for me. The goal is to try to reduce the amount of records that I have in the house, and I thought maybe some of these could be candidates. The one you see in the background here is a sealed copy, and in that video I promised that at the end of the second video I would open it and give it a listen. However, I've been talking with my friend Osvaldo Martinez at Let There Be Sound, and we've been wanting to do a grand shootout of this album for a while. So I decided to push that into a third episode where I'm going to visit his place, listen to 5 different copies at least on his super system, and I'm going to do it blindly. So he'll be changing the records, I'll be furiously writing notes, and I'm going to let you know honestly what I think of the differences I heard between at least the Alto Analogue, the Craft OJC, original pressings, the UHQR, and I believe a reel-to-reel tape as well. So, and the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, of course. So let me show you what I have here. This first one is Yes, Fragile. If anyone, if there's anyone that I have the most information on, it's Yes, Fragile. I did an extensive shootout. I did a collaboration with another channel. I did an individual review for the Atlantic 75, and I mentioned this as well. I know the record inside and out. I was very, very excited when this came out. I actually bought 2. That was back in the day when people were buying extra copies. I still have a sealed one. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. The big problem with this one, and it's not really that big a problem, is it's got a really thick bass sound to it. So thick that it kind of slows down the presentation a little bit. But the trade-off is excellent. You have wonderful clarity, separation, vocal quality, instrumental texture, space between instruments. It's really apparent on several sections of this, particularly in Heart of the Sunrise. Yes, the Atlantic 75 sounds good. Yes, in my my shootout video, I actually named Kevin Gray's 2016 as my favorite overall for balance. But this one is the second choice, an alternate listen that is very satisfying if you don't mind having a bit more power and bass. It's a great one. So I say yes to Yes, Fragile. I think it's fabulous. I would never let go of that. Okay, so the next one, I have these upside down, so I'm not even sure what each one is. This one was a limited edition of 8,000. Oh yeah, okay. Paul Simon, still crazy after all these years. I did not have another copy of this, so I listened to it in isolation, which should be a good thing, and it is. I enjoyed the sound for the most part throughout this. The thing about this record is I was buying every one step that came out. So even though I wasn't really familiar with this and not a huge fan of the solo career of Paul Simon, I bought it. And I enjoyed some of it, the couple of hits, My Little Town. I think it was recorded in a different situation because it's a collaboration with Art Garfunkel, so it doesn't sound quite as good as the rest. You know, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lovers on here. It sounds pretty amazing. I mean, in isolation, I think it sounds really good. Musically, it's not really my cup of tea. I find it a little bit plodding and overproduced, but the highlights are really good. I don't know if there's a better copy out there, but you're certainly not going to be disappointed by this one. I think because of my interest in it musically, I don't think I would probably hang on to this in the long term, but there's no rush to get it out of here. It's a pretty good copy. This one was, let's see, a limited edition of 10,000. Oh, yeah. Yep. Elvis in Memphis. Always wanted a copy, never had one. Was very excited to get this. It took a long time to come out. It's one of the few that are in a different kind of box. It doesn't have that velvet texture, which I thought was weird. But here it is. This was a nightmare for me. Elvis in Memphis. God, I remember going through 3 copies of each disc. They thought I was being, uh, too much, but each one was really dirty, even after cleaning, ticky, warped, off center. It was just a nightmare. Finally, I got a perfect set, and it's great to hear this record. But I have foreknowledge of this, and I've heard other copies. As a matter of fact, I did a shootout with Osvaldo Martinez at his place, and we heard the original Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab from the early era. I think it was a Stan Ricker cut or maybe Jack Hunt, but that one we preferred much more than this one. It's not bad. It's enjoyable. The recording is my first time hearing this. I was like, wow, this is so different. It's such a cavernous recording in Memphis. I guess the studio they used has that sound. And once I got used to that, of course, the performance is stellar. I love the performance. I mean, this is a real comeback for him. Wow. Um, it's enjoyable on its own. Is it the best copy? No, not from what I've heard. I think the original was better in several respects: spatial characteristics, the background vocals, tonality, and so forth. Um, there's also a speaker's corner and an original that Oswaldo has told me that sound better than this as well. So while it's a important and great album, I don't know if this is the best copy. And after all the work I got to get a perfect one, I'm glad to have it, but I don't know if I'll keep that in the long term. This one was a limited edition of 10,000. What is this one? Oh, Muddy Waters Folk Singer. A great recording. My first blues recording, really. I loved it. I got the original Mobile Fidelity and a disc and loved that. I was very excited when this came out. It came out around the same time, I think, as the Analogue Productions 2x45, which is all analog. We know this is digital. This, taken on its own merits, is very enjoyable. It's a simple recording, Muddy Waters Folk Singer, classic audiophile recording, just guitar and voice. It is wonderful in almost every format I've heard. I can enjoy this and I wouldn't let it go. I think the danger with this recording is making it too hot, because there are yelps and screams in this that will make your hair stand on end. And if you EQ it a little too hot or give it too much presence, it could ruin the experience. And fortunately, this doesn't go that far, but I think the availability of the $60 Analogue Productions all analog reissue makes this kind of like redundant. And a lot of people thought that when this first came out. It's a good one though. I wouldn't let it go. I think it's all right. Certainly, I love to have many copies of that record. The next one is, a limited edition of 12,000. This is Crosby, Stills, and Nash debut album. I did a review of it. I did not like this from the moment I heard it. Granted, a lot of these later one steps are from recordings that have issues, and this one is famous for some issues in vocal clarity and bass, just kind of a rough kind of recording. When I first heard Sweet Judy Blue Eyes on this, I knew it wasn't for me, for sure. I just didn't care for it. It has some beautiful things in it, of course, because it's a beautiful performance. Crosby, Stills, Nash. You can't get much better. But yeah, I found like the issues on this recording, the vocal blurring, the woolly bass, they were just amplified on this one step. And that's the problem with some of these marginal recordings, is that issues in the original tape are under a microscope here, and it just doesn't sound right. Everything is brought to the fore, and sometimes the EQ is goosed up a little bit. It just makes it too much. There are better pressings out there. This is not one that I would probably keep, as much as I love the album. Next one is the Eagles. The Eagles' debut album is a great sounding album. The engineering is so good. I liked this from the moment I played it. It wasn't a record that I had in my collection, so I didn't have any other copies, but in isolation, I thought it sounded really good. Kick-ass rock album, really good sound, powerful, and has the jump factor. I thought it was great. I don't know, as I said, if other copies can surpass it, but I could enjoy this on its own for sure. And I can't say that about one of the later Eagles One Steps I heard in a comparison. Did I publish it? Yeah, actually I published it. That was done at Oswaldo's house. We heard other pressings that we preferred of Hotel California, mainly the DCC. That particular one step I didn't care for, but this one is a great one. I can easily recommend that. Last but not least, okay, is Tapestry. Another recording that has Carole King Tapestry. Sorry, I want to make sure I say all these titles for people that are just listening. Carole King Tapestry is a recording that is known to have some issues. It has a somewhat boxy sound. The piano is, sometimes it's recorded a little hot. So the piano and Carole's voice can sometimes be near the point of overloading, and it makes it a little bit of an uncomfortable listen. However, that's not the fault of the one step. That's on almost every pressing that I've heard. Well, virtually every pressing I've heard. I don't think you can find a better one. I have the classic by Bernie Grundman. I wasn't crazy about that either. I am crazy about the music on this album. It's a classic. Wonderful songwriting and a legendary performance. So you do want to have the best pressing. I think this one really excels in a couple of areas. The kick drum, for instance, is really striking on this, and you don't hear that on most other pressings. There's more separation and clarity, which does help to a point. It's almost at the point where it's revealing too much. But in general, if you know the flaws of this recording, you will certainly enjoy the one step of Carole King's Tapestry. Is it the best pressing? I can't tell you. I've never found one that I think is better, but there might be one out there. Let me know in the comments if you know. So those are the second 7. Again, if you haven't seen the first batch, take a look at that. And I can't wait to hear this. Do me a favor, everybody. If you would like to see the 3rd episode where we do a major shootout of Sunday at the Village Vanguard, I open this and we compare to UHQR, the Ultra tape, and various other pressings. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and we'll see you next time. I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Thank you for tuning in.